stop, the party always ready. Can't stop, won't 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 stop, the 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 party always ready. 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 Stop the can't stop, won't stop, the party always ready. 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 Party always ready. He always ready. He always ready. He always ready.
I go. I go deep. Tata, I go deep. Scuba diving in my sleep. Tata, I go deep. I go deep. I go. I go deep. Come up on the track, worth a couple stacks. Send it to the labels and tell them kiss my ass, dad. Come up on the track, worth a couple stacks. Send it to the labels and tell them kiss my ass, dad. Come up on the track, worth a couple stacks. Send it to the labels and tell them kiss my ass, dad. Come up on the track, worth a couple stacks. Send it to the labels and tell them kiss my ass, gas, 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 come up, take it. Come up, take it.
gotta be there for me too. Tears fall down, below like a river. I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you. When you scream in my name, only hear you whisper. I'll be loud for you. You gotta be there for me too. Lost it took a toll on me, but I made it with you next to me. Around the world and back again. I hope you're waiting at the end. But I can't do this alone. Sometimes I just need a light. If I call you on the phone, need you on the other side. So when your tears roll down your pillow like a river, I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you. When you're screaming but they only hear you whisper, I'll be loud for you. I'll be loud for you. I got you, I promise. Let me be honest. Love is a road that goes both ways. When your tears roll down your pillow like a river, I'll be there for you. But you gotta be there for me too.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Season 14 VGNHL Entry Draft Lotto. I'm joined by Scows. Scows, are you here?
I'm here.
All right, say hi to everybody.
What's going on, guys?
All right, so we've got a nice panel of guests here tonight. We've got Greek Elite, we've got Scows, we've got Vibes, we've got Spencer, we've got who else do we got? We got Caramel, I think, is going to be joining us later. Going to do a lot of in-depth looks to see who might get that number one pick tonight and see what they're going to do with it tomorrow for the big draft. Before we get into it, we're just working on some last-minute changes to the system, so we're going to review some of the action that's gone down over the offseason to kind of move these picks around to get certain teams into certain positions to get that first pick. Scouts, you want to give us a little bit of a recap?
Yeah, I mean, over the last week or so, we had our off-season contract week where a bunch of teams were able to re-sign players, offer entry-level deals, and then doing the franchise tags and such. We had about 5 days of dealings where they could have possibly made trades, and we had about 28 trades go down
That's
in
insane.
those 5 days.
That's crazy.
So that's a pretty. I guess everybody was chopping at the bit to try and get some shit done. You know?
Well, and the thing is, too, this season we have the new system for the draft where we're actually got the TWDCs to draft some of those players to your AHL roster, so that's going to make a new dynamic for the league.
Yeah, we included the PHL players that can go to the PHL to go to the AHL roster, so they can have a head start down there as well.
Yeah, so once we see that eligible players list tomorrow, we'll see that there's going to be a lot more names than in our previous 13 seasons.
I mean, some teams already, based off of the signings and the deals that they made, I think there was 2 teams that already had 8 players on their roster before the draft tomorrow.
That's pretty crazy.
So some teams will have a full team going into bidding and might not need to do much. So should make everything interesting.
And it's also cool to see we've got the new Vegas Golden Knights who came in through the raffle. Again, thank you everybody who participated in that and supported the league with your donations. As everybody knows, Chi-Town ended up winning that contest and decided to not do the expansion draft, took his existing team over, and the newest owner number 31, who had to sit and wait patiently for the better part of 10 days before he knew, maybe longer,
2 weeks, I would say.
14 days. So he ended up actually getting a chance to do the expansion draft. So he's he's sitting pretty right now because his potential picks are the same as the team who finished third last, and that's a 10.3% chance of winning the lottery tonight. So that's actually quite high. We
Yeah, I
also we also have
some-
Dallas first, I think, with the highest odds of winning the pick at 18%. Buffalo next, 12.1, and then Vegas and Arizona with 10.3.
Yeah, the Arizona pick was the one that's been on the move. It jumped from 3 different teams over that 5-day span. So obviously it was a hot commodity, and people wanted to definitely try and get it. So
And doesn't Caramel have it now, the Arizona pick?
yeah, I mean Caramel is a new owner for us, so he took over a team. That pick wasn't on the Arizona roster to start the 5-day period. It was actually with Vancouver. So
Wow.
the team that made it to the finals last year could have had a chance at the lottery pick, and he
So he ended up
They
acquiring
took
his
them-
old pick back.
he ended up acquiring his old pick back after it went from Vancouver to Chicago to Detroit. So
And what did that end up costing in the end?
it actually didn't cost him that much. Just he actually re-signed a player for another team, and that's what it pretty much cost him. So he just cost himself a re-sign and allowed him to not have one less player on his roster to start
Okay.
the draft bidding.
And how about the Buffalo pick? Who does that one sit with right now?
Buffalo pick is currently with the Edmonton roster.
That's
So that
Nightman.
would be, Nightman, who was in charge of Calgary last year and relocated to Edmonton. They typically pretty much swap spots because he really wanted out of Edmonton. Out of Calgary. So I don't know. I would have preferred Calgary. I don't know. I think those jerseys are better than Edmonton.
Yeah, the jerseys say a lot. So I'm going to welcome our first guest here to speak with you all, the electrifying Greek Elite. Many of you know him as the man who took 13 seasons to win a cup in a league that he co-owns. So we have to congratulate him. Hey Malaka, speak up.
Thank you.
Speak to the people.
Thank you, people. Can you hear me? I don't know if my
No,
mic
you're
is
you're
working.
good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you good.
Yeah, it did take me 13 seasons, but I mean, it is a tough
Make
league.
it all that
you
much
know?
sweeter, right?
It does make it sweeter, and what's gonna make it sweeter is we're trying to aim to win back to back. So that's what we're trying to do here. So hopefully things will work out for us. You know.
I mean, you're looking pretty good. You have 7 players going into the draft tomorrow, so I guess that
Yeah.
trading that first round, chance of a lottery didn't cost you that much.
Well, we have 8 players. The idea was to try to keep the same players going into next season because I feel that the key we were very successful because we tried to make trades last season to get players that not necessarily are good, but players that have experience to the playoffs because we've seen teams always trade for players that are good, but it just doesn't work. You want those players that are going to be good in playoffs. And I think that was the key to our success because even though, as you guys know, we did very good in the regular season, we were actually very worried that coming to the playoffs, are we going to perform, right? Are we going to be able to get the wins? And believe it or not, every single player played even better in the playoffs. And I think that's what made us successful.
So what, you were afraid of being the Washington Capitals of the real NHL?
Yeah, like the Washington Capitals. I played for Detroit, and I think I've won 4 times the President's Trophy. But every time it came down to making the playoffs, certain people, including myself, weren't really performing when it came down to it, right? So that was something that I was worried about, and I'm happy that we actually, were able to play good even in the playoffs, which I think it was quite. Some teams gave us a little bit of a hard time, but it was quite a smooth ride. So I was very happy for that.
So you say it was a smooth ride, but tell us a little bit about going into Game 7 where you lost contact with, or Game 4 where you lost contact with that key player who could have potentially cost you your playoff run.
Stress. You know what I mean? Stress is the word.
The struggle was
and
real.
You know that the struggle is real. Like, all of a sudden everything is smooth, and then that one player, the most important day of the season, just goes MIA on you, and you're like, what the hell? He doesn't even talk to you. He doesn't even send you a message, and that's the stress that you have as an owner. You know, you're trying to put all these guys together, and then all of a sudden he goes MIA. So you're like, shit, what happens now? You know, who's gonna be able to play? But thank God we have players that we could have replaced him. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't a very big issue, but it was just more that we felt with him in the lineup it would have been easier, right? So,
Right.
and that's what I say to teams and new owners too, because I help a lot of people behind the scenes to be able to run their team. Is to make trades to people that are committed, obviously, but people that have um, the experience as well, because that's what's important. So even players that didn't play a lot in the regular season, and we put them in the playoffs because we rotated our team properly, they were performing, and it was unbelievable. There wasn't a time that I thought that we had a player on the ice that was a problem. You know, every single player was performing. And usually, you know, when a team wins, the owner comes out and says the same things that I'm saying. But the truth is, everybody played crazy. So this is why making the team for next season, and a lot of the teams didn't take advantage of this, to be honest with you, which I'm shocked. We were able to keep 90% of our roster the same. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep Boston Hydro, which was an important member for us. He went to the new Vegas team, but was important for us to be able to keep the same players, and we did it. And that's how we traded our picks, and that's why we made smart trades to be able to succeed, right, and to be successful in that.
So that was
And
going
I
to
don't
be.
understand why teams are not using the re-signs or the franchise tags. I mean, these tools are to be able to help the teams use them, right, and have an advantage. Like I'm going with our team, me and Lindy, we're going with 8 players in the bid, and that's important for us, right? Sure, we only have 2.7 million, but we're going with 8 starters right now into the bidding, and other teams only have 2, 3 players, which I don't know what they're gonna do, right?
So my tough question for you tonight was, how did you make the decision to not protect the Vezina trophy winner?
You know, the the thing with that was that we didn't know that we could have got some deals, and at the time we weren't thinking about trying to keep the whole core together, and we didn't think that people were actually going to give us the opportunity to keep certain guys. So after I was able to talk to some owners that weren't going to use the re-signs and the franchise tag, it was too late. At that point, Boston Hydro had already agreed to move. So we made a couple of trades. Now we're gonna go with another goalie. Obviously, it's something that we want everybody to come back so we can do the repeat. But you never know. Throughout the season, we're gonna look into it and see if we can bring it back on the team, right?
And do you already have that goalie secured, or you're going to be working on that once everything starts?
Ideally, we already made some trades. The trades are already lined up for us to have the new goalie that's gonna be able to, um, to be the starter for us. Even Mike Teasy, which we picked up Mike Teasy uh, for nothing last season, end up playing phenomenal. So knowing who you have is important, right? And the number one pick one of the number one picks, which was Arizona, was for us to re-sign Mike Teasy. And many would say, well, why? Why would you give that? Why wouldn't you pick somebody from the AHL? Because I don't know. You know, there's certain people that you don't know down there. So why not re-sign a player that you've seen
Well,
and
Mike
that has
Tease
performed for
is
you?
a great goalie. Mike Tease is a great
Mike
goalie.
Teasy is a starter.
Yeah, he's a
He's a
great goalie.
starting goalie, right? So why, why give away your pick? And a lot of people want to do like to get a guy from AHL, which I don't know. I know a few people, but I know Mike Teasy. So that's what's smart, and that's what an owner should do. The people that they know and they trust, they should put them together.
And are you going to be doing any action during the draft tomorrow? Do you have any
No, no,
picks?
I don't have any picks. I gave all the picks out. There's nothing here. We don't have anything. We gave the last pick. We gave it to Arizona, which it's their pick, Arizona. So I'm assuming that they're trying to target a guy, and that's why they really wanted the pick. And that's about it. There's nothing for us for the draft.
Don't
Okay.
don't forget though, trading is trading is open right now, and I don't know if people realize that yet, but it's only open from now until the draft ends. So
Yeah, we're going to be watching the trades as we do the top three picks to see if they move around, because I'm sure they will. They always get moved back and forth, especially it'll be a little bit quiet today, but tomorrow during the draft it'll be pretty crazy.
Yeah, for sure, it's gonna be crazy. And I'm still trying to make moves. I'm still gonna try to make moves now with certain pieces that I have. and Detroit is open for any trades, right? And
Detroit's
we
open
even
for
last
business.
season, and we're open for business. Lindy 94 doesn't do anything, but we're open for business. Send me a message or whatever it is, and we're gonna try to be able to. And even last season, we went for I think with 13 players. I went in, and we were rotated properly. We had a lot of problems. I mean, English, guys know English. He's a very good player. He had to go. So it's always important to have a lot of players on your team that can perform, right? Because you never know what can happen in this league. Again, everything can look good. We were the number one team, and then people were just causing problems for no reason. So even the good teams have their own problems. That's why it's important to have a big roster and to have players that pretty much are committed to this, right? And that's why it's important to know and talk to these guys all the time.
Did you get a chance to check out our new team stats section to see how well you actually did on Detroit this past season?
I didn't have a chance. No, I know Lindy was looking at that, and we were doing extremely well in certain categories. He's all about the stats and stuff like that. I'm more of the guy that let's just take it, one game at a time.
And is there anything you think you guys could work on? I mean, even though you had a great season and won the cup?
For some reason, I have a feeling that we're just going to be better. I think we're going to be better because we have an advantage from other teams that, again, I'm keeping the same people. We know how we're playing with each other, right? So we know how the chemistry is extremely high. So we have a big advantage. I think certain teams that I'm paying attention, they don't have really much chemistry. I think there's a handful of teams that has a good core. The rest are just going brand new. So it's gonna take a little bit of time for them to catch up, right? So I'm sure towards the end of the season we're gonna get a little bit challenged. But I think in the beginning it's gonna be something that you're probably gonna see Detroit again like last season. Pulling away, hopefully, only because.
Are there any teams that you've are there any teams that
weakness, right?
are there any teams that you've seen in the off season that kind of worry you already this early on?
No, I mean, there's certain owners that I'm shocked. Like they did very good trades, and they're actually making their team better. And there's certain owners that I was like, wow, like I couldn't believe the fact that it's the off season. I don't think people pay attention making trades in the off season, and I think that's the downfall. That's where owners should pay more attention because for us, that's where we made moves to be able to have the team that we're going to have going into the season. Other owners were just sitting there and showing up the last day of the deadline and saying, hey, I have a pick, or hey, you want to get my player, I'm not going to re-sign him. Meanwhile, he had a month to be able to make those trades, right? I mean, a week after we won the cup, we were actually communicating with certain owners and telling them, listen, if you're not going to use your this or that, let's work out a deal. We have these players. So we kept on working with of getting better. And that's why any owners that put the time and the effort, they're going to be successful. The owners that don't put the time and the effort, unfortunately, are not going to be successful.
True.
I mean,
so basically, don't do malakias in the off season.
Exactly.
There was a lot of teams that were actually very active, probably more so than I've seen in the last couple of years. So this is looking to be a tough season, in my opinion, at least.
Scott, let me ask you a personal question. How do you think Chicago is going to do?
I don't know. I mean, he went from having 4 first-round picks, which I thought could have really helped out his roster, to, I'm pulling it up right now, to having one.
For those of you who don't know, we're talking about Cam 123, our actual winner.
So he went from having 4 first-round picks to only having 1. He did acquire some players that does make his roster a little bit better, but some of the moves I thought that he did, I don't know. I guess it'll have to see how it plays out for him, but I don't know. The core of the team is looking like the same as it was last year, and we all know where that went.
Yeah. Greek, do you have any opinions on what's going to happen with Chicago this season?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are just, bothering Cam, but honestly, he's trying. He's making moves. Even last season, I saw him make moves, even when his team wasn't doing well, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
It's gonna come. I think it's gonna come to the point of getting the right pieces, and he is doing good moves.
Okay.
He is dedicated. He does put his time in. He's not one of those owners that just shows up and plays or throws it in at the end of the season when it was lost. Like I was on that team last year and we were at the bottom, yet we still showed up and played. We had fun while playing, albeit while we were losing, and it made the game enjoyable. I mean, you don't want to be sitting there arguing with your team every night and trying to find people to play. He had people showed up, and I respect that about him.
Even though he's a squeaker.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks.
I haven't really talked to him. I haven't really
On the mic?
spent on the
Oh,
mic.
please.
All right. Well,
but he's trying his best, and that's what's important. As long as people are trying their best, that I give respect to that. You know what I mean?
coming from the Cup champion, I'm sure that means a lot to some of these new owners. So I want to thank Greek Elite for joining us today and giving us a little recap of his Cup run and his outlook for season 14. We're going to move on to some of the owners who have a chance at winning the lotto to just get some insight as to what their plans are if they win. Let's see. Spencer, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
How's it going tonight, sir?
It's going.
So I'm
Just
sure
deciding what to do with that pick.
I'm sure you've been in the limelight quite a bit this off season with you taking over the expansion draft and now having such a good shot at having top picks. Have you been contacted a lot this off season?
I've been contacted a few times about a player, but I haven't decided to make any moves yet. Just trying to get everything together first.
No one's hounding you for those picks?
No, I haven't had anybody come to me about my picks yet. I don't think they know that my picks are that high.
Okay.
Once the lottery goes through, I'm sure people will see where it's at, and then they'll be calling you.
Yeah, I
that's
think
what I'm
once people see the official order, I think that's when they'll start trying to poach those picks off people tomorrow, or maybe even tonight.
Yeah, you never know.
So if you do win the best pick, what are you gonna do?
Well, there's been talks between me and my captain of picking a player, or possibly looking to move the pick to acquire 2 NHL players already.
Do you
So,
do you have a player in mind that you want?
none in mind yet, but there's a few that we've thought about.
Okay. I guess I can't ask you too much more. And how did your expansion draft go? Did you happen to get a hold of all the guys?
So far we've gotten a hold of 2 of our guys. I'm still trying to contact 2 more, but I don't know. Hoping that they answer me. It could be that time of year. It's summertime. People aren't really checking their PlayStations, website. That's what I'm hoping.
Right.
But
Well, it's going to be an exciting night for you for sure because then, like I said, you've got that 10.3% chance, and then also you're going to have the second round pick that's probably going to be quite high as well because you've been given the same odds as the team that finished with the third fewest points in season 13, which is kind of a nice bonus.
yeah, that would be nice to get both.
Have you had a chance to speak to your number 1 overall expansion draft pick yet?
Yes, we have. We've been in talks with him a lot, and he's gonna help us build a team so we can build a team around him.
Okay, and how's it looking for the rest of your team? Are they happy to have him?
Well, since I've only got to, me and my captain are happy to have. Well, everybody knows Hydro was my top pick,
Right.
and I've talked to Selly, and Selly was happy to be on the team again. I've known Selly since my first season in the PHL there, and we had some good times. And he tried to before the season started last year. He talked about me picking him up, but me and my captain decided not to. But he's a good guy, so we're
Yeah, I
gonna
heard-
build a team around both of them and hope
I
for
heard
the best.
I heard Sully was super excited once you picked him as well. Apparently, he called his mom and said he was drafted second overall or third overall.
Probably wouldn't doubt me. Selly in the PHL when Kyle Despres was my captain. He would always get us mixed up. He would always call Kyle Ryan and tell him to fuck off when it was me, when it wasn't me.
Nice.
We,
Okay,
we
well,
had some good laughs, so he's gonna be good to have in the locker room.
very true, very true. All right, well, thank you for your time. We're going to check in with a few of the other owners before we get the lotto going. And good luck.
Yeah, I'll
Good
send
luck.
you right now.
Hopefully you win. Let's see, who do we got next here? Karma, are you on the line yet? I don't think we got Karma yet. Nightman, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, boys?
How are you? Thanks for joining us tonight.
No problem.
So you're sitting with the second highest odds of winning the first overall pick. You feel confident?
You know what? I feel pretty good. I have 4 first-round picks. I have the 2nd, 6th, and 8th. So, and I also have the 25th. As it stands right now, before the lottery, right? So, in terms of the standings at the end of the season, right? And yeah, you know what? I feel with 3 potentially top 10 picks, it would be terrific to get the number 1. But overall, I'm just kind of really excited to see how tomorrow night goes down, because I feel like I got a really good opportunity here to build a team.
And do you think you're looking to move that pick if you win it, or are you going to keep it and do something crazy with it?
I am not ruling anything out. I am the complete opposite of what Ryan has experienced over the off season. I've been contacted nonstop about my picks, mostly the Buffalo picks. I've had somewhat joking, not sure if they were joking, offers of PSN cards.
I've heard those exchange hands quite a bit, so I don't think they were joking.
But I knew right from the beginning. I decided when I took over Calgary last season from Snagster that the picks were going to be the most important to me, knowing the changes that were coming up with this draft. And I kind of decided then that if I got the opportunity to be an owner after last season ended, that I had a vision for how I wanted to build my team, and that wanted to be with the draft, and I wanted to be able to pick players that I knew were going to be hungry to prove themselves in the NHL, and that's kind of the mentality that I've been going for. Because in the time that I've been in this league, sometimes you experience things where guys don't want to play for your team or whatever, and it's frustrating as an owner. And I had problems last year with a couple of players that just, when I took over, they just flat out refused to play, and I had no idea what I was really even getting into at that point. But we made it through the other side, and I think at the end of the season, most of the guys that are on my team enjoyed playing even when we were losing, so that was the main thing for me. But I'm pretty excited for tomorrow night, because this has kind of been a plan for months now to use these picks.
So I guess without telling us stuff, you've got a pretty good idea of what you're going after.
I have a pretty good idea. Like, I have a list of players that I'm interested in. I also have a list of players that I'm interested in just really for bidding and stuff as well. I haven't been too active with trades, or I haven't really I don't think I've offered any trades. I've discussed a couple that didn't pan out. But mostly I've been planning on using these picks. But like I said, I'm not ruling anything out. If anybody, has any offers for me, send them my way, and I'll definitely consider them. But I am holding the picks at a pretty high price, especially if I get lucky and I win the number 1.
Yeah, that'll pretty much change everything, I guess, and put it into more perspective for the other owners, exactly what they can do with you.
Exactly.
What made you use one of your re-signs for another team?
So that re-sign, I wasn't going to use my re-signs, and the team that I did that re-sign for, I did that as a favor. And there, it's funny, when I did that, I actually mentioned to that owner, I said, people are probably going to look at this and go, what the fuck? And the way that I look at it is that He came to me. He asked me if I could do it. Um, we talked about it, and I decided to do it basically as a favor. It was kind of good faith. He's kind of helped me out in the past. Being a new owner last season, he kind of helped me out, and it was kind of a personal favor. But at the same time, the way that I look at it is that this league's supposed to be fun, and I want this league to be. When I play teams, I want to play teams that are good, even if we lose. I want to be playing teams that are good. I want this team to be the best it can be. If he felt like that was going to make his team stronger, I didn't really have a problem with that. I'm going to help out him, and I'll give him that option. I could have easily just said no, but to me, I wasn't going to use it. And now I've done him a favor. Maybe he owes me one later on.
And heading into the season, how many guys are you with right now?
Right now, I have total 4.
Okay.
Actually, probably 3.
So you're going to be doing
One's an AHL guy. One's an AHL guy.
You're going to be doing a lot of management for draft and bidding to kind of.
You have 4.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I have 4.
And I don't know if Scouts asked you this yet, but you came in during a pretty tough situation last season. And took over for a team that had a lot of issues. And then you were selected to come back as an owner. Were you a little bit nervous heading into owner selections?
I was a little bit. Like, I knew that I wanted to do this. Again, I wanted to have a fresh start, and that's kind of what the theme of this whole season is going to be. Is it going to be a fresh start? And that's the picks and everything.
Yeah.
But I was pretty proud of what I managed to accomplish with Calgary last season. Like, I took that team over, and I think when I took it over, they were on a 17-game losing streak, or it was something ridiculous. And we didn't obviously do fantastic, but we started winning games, and guys stopped screaming at each other in the party, and we got rid of a couple of people that didn't get along with each other, and I filled the team with guys that I knew could be positive, and that was a big thing for me because when you think of this league, people play this league, 1, to have fun, and 2, because they want to win, and if nobody's having fun, nobody's going to win. And that's the kind of the way that I look at it. And by the end of the season, we had guys that I didn't have any problem hounding guys to get them to play. People were showing up, even though we were 5th last or something, 6th. At one point we were 2nd last in the league.
I believe when you took over, you were the 2nd worst team in the league.
Yeah.
And you brought it up to 6th worst.
Yeah, and
So,
we managed to win some games. We didn't win a lot, but you know what? Like, we had a couple of games that were really close, and I actually had some pretty respectable owners message me throughout the season, and they were really supportive of what I was trying to do in Calgary. Like, I won't name drop or anything, but I got some messages after games and stuff that made me think, okay, you know what? Maybe I am doing something good here. We're not obviously top of the league, but at least some teams are recognizing that we're trying to at least be competitive. So.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's a pretty big thing to come into a situation like that. Turn the morale around, get the guys at least motivated to play, and actually show up. So that was pretty good. And I guess your hard work paid off because you're back now with a team that's your own from the start, and you can actually build it up.
Yeah, and that way, if I screw it up, it's all on me, so I can't blame anybody else.
Right. Okay, well, without further ado, we're going to go through this now and do number 3, number 2, and number 1 in order. We'll have your top 3 picks tonight, and then later on in the evening and early tomorrow, we'll have the rest of the list along with the eligible players. Some exciting stuff that we're working on. We wanted to keep it under wraps. We're not sure if it's going to be available, but there's potential that the owners will actually be able to draft their players through the draft center itself. So it's TBD. We're hoping to get that done for you guys. If not, we'll use the old system, but it'll be something really, really nice for you guys to be able to jump in and start drafting directly from the page. So yeah, let's quickly just run down here and take a look at the percentages again before we run the old MBG engine. Again, we've gone over Dallas, Buffalo, Vegas, and Arizona with the top odds. I mean, but as you can see, the lonely Boston there has a 0.9% chance they might actually come away. I mean, crazier things have happened here. Yeah, I mean, let's just go. Let's just do it. With the third overall pick for the season 14 VGNHL, we have dun, 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 dun. Clear the cache. The Minnesota Wild. Wow. So Minnesota had a 3.2% chance of winning the lotto and snuck up to third, moving up, I believe. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots. So very impressive for them. Congratulations, Minnesota Wild. And Scals, let us know if you see any trades flying in.
I haven't seen any trades flying in, but is that the pick that Minnesota currently owns, or the one that they were last year?
No, I believe that's still the one that they have.
Okay.
You can double check that after, but it's the original pick.
Minnesota also owns the Dallas one. That's why I was curious.
Okay, yeah, you can check that out in the back, but it should be accurate. It's the first round picks.
Okay.
Here we go with the second overall pick, the Vegas Golden Knights. So Ryan, you still came in with a top 2 pick. You didn't win the overall, but I mean, still, again, coming in as an expansion team, you know, getting slotted in with really high odds. You now have the second overall pick, so congrats to you.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure you are ready to start planning.
Oh, this helps a lot now. I'm gonna definitely plan overnight, get ready for tomorrow.
All right, good luck with that. And
Have a good
now we've got the first overall pick coming. I mean, Dallas, Buffalo, for sure, the ones we're all thinking, but who knows what can happen. Here we go. Anticipation. And as you know, as the odds go, the Dallas Stars have won the first overall pick for the season 14 VGNHL entry draft. Congratulations to the Dallas Stars. And if the picks are accurate here, then you know Minnesota's looking great.
Minnesota owns the first and third picks.
Stay at home D is saying hi, Mom. We're sharing the chat for those of you watching the owners chat, because they're all watching as we're going live and they're just talking a bunch of crap. Kevin Whitewake says 39 points. Sheesh. They can't all be as good as you, Kev. So congrats again, Minnesota looking extremely strong. You know, Vegas got the number 2, but Minnesota is the clear winner here tonight. And we'll keep you posted as trades keep coming in. And please join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. for the live draft. And check in later for the full results. Thanks.